This is the first weekly recap of my journey in weight loss and self-improvement. So, how did it go? I got to be honest, this week was a bit rough. I couldn't work on the last video over the weekend, so I had to start late Monday. Didn't finish until early Wednesday. My time got eaten up quite a bit, so I wasn't as productive as I liked. But at least I got started on all the things I wanted to do. First, let's start with the weigh-in. I am down 4 pounds. Now my progress pictures and waist measurements. It's pretty much exactly the same. I think I'll just wait until the end of the month to share my progress pictures and waist measurements because there's not going to be much visual changes week by week. So I'll show it on the last Sunday of the month, which is going to be the 25th. The goal was to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, so this isn't too bad. For my nutrition, I try to eat under 1,650 calories. And I succeeded on some days, but on other days I went a little too far. And I'll explain in a bit. I'm using an app called Chronometer to track my calories. I just input the ingredients I'm using for each meal with precise measurements using my weight scale, measuring cups, and spoons. Then it gives me an estimate of the calories in each meal. My first meal is oatmeal. Again, it's basically the same recipe as last time except I'm measuring all the ingredients. It's half a cup of oatmeal, a teaspoon of brown sugar, a quarter tablespoon of butter, and a teaspoon of maple syrup. This comes in at 235 calories. The second meal is chicken with arugula and a pan sauce made of butter, lemon juice, and maple syrup. This recipe was a little tricky because each piece of the chicken weighed differently. I bought a pack of 6 chicken breasts, and when I weighed one of them, it was ridiculously large. Apparently the average weight of chicken breast is supposed to be around 170 to 200 grams. This thing weighs over 500 grams. I'm sure it's as natural as rich piana. To make the portions reasonable, I attempted to butterfly them. But man, I did a bad job. Some pieces were too large, others too small. In order to accurately track the calories, I had to weigh each piece when I'm going to cook them and adjust them in Chronometer. So the second meal ranges from 400 to 500 calories, depending on the size of the chicken. By the way, the texture on this chicken was not so good. The flavor was pretty good, mainly from the pan sauce. But I think I got woody chicken where the texture was tough and kind of crunchy. Of course, I could just be overcooking all of them. I do have a thermometer, but it kind of sucks. But I don't think overcooking them would have the insides be crunchy. And it is a real phenomenon that's been affecting chicken breasts in the US. Probably caused by growth hormone like what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson totally doesn't use. While the second meal was a bit of a bummer, at least the third meal was pretty good. It was pasta with a sauce made from garlic, grape tomatoes, fresh basil, and Parmesan cheese. This was at about 460 calories. The average calories of the 3 meals combined comes out around 1,200 calories. I filled up the remaining calories with snacks like apples, medjool dates, and some chips. I know, not very healthy, but I already got a few bags of chips at home, and I don't want to throw them away and waste food and money. As long as it fits within my caloric budget, I think it should be okay. Admittedly, there was a few days where I was under eating. I was so worried that I wouldn't lose weight and be embarrassed that I would not eat any snacks or even skip a meal. I didn't do it often. It was only like 2 days. So that's why I lost more weight than I should have. I was aiming for 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's more healthy and sustainable. But now I know that eating at a caloric deficit works, so I don't have to do anything too extreme next time. So that's the status of my weight and nutrition. Now onto how I practice the skills I wanted to learn. Because making the last video ate up a lot of time in the week, I couldn't really get as deep as I wanted to. But at least I got started with the basics. After I wake up, I start my morning routine, like brushing my teeth, cleaning up, and so on. Then I would do my speech exercises. I start by doing lip trills. I practice sounding out consonants and vowels. Then I try saying tongue twisters. At around 9 a.m., I started my DaVinci Resolve lessons. I downloaded the beginner's guide on their website, including the lesson files that I have to use to follow along. There's quite a lot to get through, so this is going to take a while to complete. I finished the first 2 lessons, which were all about the edit page. In the first lesson, I learned how to import a project and work with the media pool. I built a timeline from scratch and used the toolbar to edit this trailer with the files they provided. The second lesson is building on top of the first, where I work with sound effects, mixing the audio, applying video effects, adding in titles, and using advanced keyboard shortcuts. It took me a little over 3 hours to complete the first 2 lessons. Here's the final results.
In this film, making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world, it was really important to go out and shoot the real world.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
If it was possible to shoot it, we wanted to go shoot it. If we couldn't get the shot, or the weather wasn't right longer, or it didn't make the movie, it was really important. Every shot was original and that everything was real.
Leave behind everything you know about airplanes and prepare to see them again for the first time.
After I was done, I went to eat my first meal. Then I went back to study Spanish. My method of learning Spanish is to mimic how a child learns their language, which is by listening to a lot of Spanish, trying to absorb the sounds and details, then mimic those sounds. A child can become fluent without formally learning the grammar rules or the technical aspects of the language. So that's what I'm trying to do. Immersing myself in the language, working on my pronunciation and listening skills. I looked up how to pronounce consonants and vowels with an accurate accent. Here's one video I found, for example. De.
Dedo.
De.
This is my
De.
dedo.
Dedo. By the way, I'm learning Mexican Spanish since most of the speakers from where I live are from Mexico. I know different regions have their own accents and dialects. I chose Mexican Spanish because I think that's more practical. I found some articles about how to properly shape the mouth and place the tongue to produce an accurate sound. Here's one about vowels. I learned that Spanish vowels are more precise than what we have in English. In English, sometimes we blend vowels together, but in Spanish, each vowel has one specific sound, so I have to pronounce each word fast to sound fluent. I'm practicing the R sounds, and there are 2 R sounds. The flap R, which sounds similar to the double T or D sounds in English like ladder or butter, and the trilled R or the rolled R. The rolled R is going to be a challenge. I think I got the single R okay. For example, pera, mira, caro, but with the rolled R, I don't think I'm close at all. Caro, 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 caro. I got a long way to go. To improve my listening skills, I'm just listening to a bunch of podcasts and music. There's TED Talks in Spanish, and this is great because the presenters speak really slowly, and there's a transcript I could follow. That's how I'm learning Spanish. I'm just focusing on pronunciation and listening skills for now. Finally, I'm learning how to draw. First, I wanted to establish where my current skills are at, so I attempted to draw a portrait of the statue of David. I haven't drawn anything for years before this point, and it really showed. This is awful. I found a curriculum on Reddit for self-taught artists, but I'm so unskilled that even the first lesson, which is gesture drawing, was too difficult. So I'm starting super basic, with drawing spheres, cubes, and cylinders. So that's it for this week. I was able to lose weight, albeit in an unhealthy way of eating too few calories. I'll make sure I'll eat closer to my caloric budget next time. I'll stay within 50 calories at least. I'm filming this part of the video on Sunday, the 11th. I'm going to try to finish it on the same day, so it doesn't eat into my weekdays and stall my productivity. But if not, then I'll definitely finish this on Monday. See you next week.